Hey, this is Full Game Prometheus, the only YouTuber that actually gives you full games of all the tips and schemes I post on my channel. I'll show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Alright, so guys, you saw the icon. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification icon if you're new to my channel and you're looking for daily tips to take your game to the next level. Alright, guys, I want to go ahead and complete one of the features in Madden. Is actually going to be talking about the individual defensive features or adjustments in the game. So I want to go ahead and cover these type of things with you. I'll be jumping into a couple different formations to kind of show you how these features work. But this is going to be high-level Madden 2. It's going to show you how a lot of the pros make their adjustments very quickly, and it's going to teach you on how to be more proficient at this game. So I want to talk about individual adjustments when you're playing Madden. That's going to definitely help you dramatically. So let's go ahead and jump into just the base defense, which is going to be, let's go with a cover 4. That's a very common defense that we can go into, and we're going to run this against random passes. So let's just go ahead and jump into random passes. Alright, so basically when you're playing defense, you've got pretty much all of your defenders that are going to be in some kind of a pass coverage that can be whether it's man or whether it's going to be zone. Now, one of the differences between novice players and then good players and then actually pro players is their ability to go ahead and change your coverages to adjust to their opponent. So the guys that are new to Madden, this is probably going to be one of the differences between a guy that you run into that seems to lock down your offense and you really struggle with your offense, and other guys you're able to go ahead and carve up when you're playing on offense. So I want to go to basically some of the adjustments that a lot of Madden players make when they're playing the game that actually will be very confusing and very difficult for you to stop. Now, first and foremost, let's go ahead and take a look at the individual adjustments for our players. So you can click on an individual player and then actually hit the X icon. I don't know what that is in Xbox. I'll try to put a key up in the corner so you can see the key for Xbox controls. But if you press X on PlayStation 3, you're going to basically see a couple different adjustments that you can go ahead and put your player on. So right now he's in a deep blue, but if I go ahead and do an individual adjustment, I can actually do that. I can go ahead and put him into basically 8 different other ways of actually doing it. Now, if I go ahead and do the middle third, it's going to keep my guy in the same spot. If I do outside a third, it's pretty much going to go and take this guy and actually put him in a assignment off the left hand side. So that's going to be kind of a unique position. Or I can put him in a deep half, or I can put him in a deep third so he actually rolls. If I do down, it's going to be a middle read. So now he's going to fall into a mid read over the middle, so that's actually kind of a yellow zone, and then I can go ahead and deep half off to left. Now, because where he's located at, he's going to be pretty much going to be going off the left. Now, another thing I could do is I could actually put hit up on the right stick and man him up on any one of these wide receivers. So you can see I can put him across the field. Now, what's key is that safeties safeties that are actually in the middle of the field, they can pretty much man up against anybody that you want. So it's really important to understand that, because that will actually give your defense a lot of flexibility on who you can man up. So now I got him on Anderson. I can go ahead and man him up over a Safarian Jenkins. So that actually makes a huge difference on your defense. Now I could put him on an outside third, which is going to put him on the other side, and then I can do a deep half on the right. So you pretty much can go ahead and put your coverage in any way that you want. So you can see right now I got him in a blitz. So let's go ahead and reset the play and leave it as is. So our middle safety is going to be the one that we want to adjust. Now, what happens if we go to the corner off the left-hand side? What kind of adjustments do we have? Well, they're a little bit different, and it's very important to understand this, that your defenders don't have universal adjustments like previous Maddens. Years before, they actually had all the same adjustments, and you can put those guys into yellows or deep blues or flats and all that kind of stuff. But now you can't necessarily do that. Basically, the positions on the field will determine what kind of adjustments they can go into. So if we leave this guy as is, he's going to be a deep third. I can put him in a hard flat, which means he's going to come down and play the line of scrimmage. I can put him in a soft squat, means he's actually going to float up. I can put him in a cloud flat, which means he's going to play the sideline. So that actually gives myself a little bit more hybrid coverage that I need to work with. And also what I can do is I can put him in man coverage. I can man him up against this guy right here. What a lot of pros do is they'll actually go ahead and man him up on the inside receiver and do kind of like a switch. So that's a smart way to go ahead and do things. I can put him in outside deep quarter, which essentially is a 4 wide receiver type of coverage. I can put him in a deep half, which is another way to go ahead and mess up your coverage against your opponent, or I can blitz him off the corner. So sometimes what happens is, say for instance you're playing against an opponent that likes to roll their quarterback on the one side, you can go ahead and jump into a hot blitz with that corner to go and attack him when he's not looking for it. So it's like a little trick that a lot of players do. So we're going to go ahead and put this in a deep half as far as one of our adjustments. Now, if you take a look at this linebacker right here, he actually has a little bit different adjustments. So if we go ahead and hit the X buttons once again, I can put him on a seam flat essentially, which is going to be the same. I can put him on a curl flat, which actually plays a little bit different from a seam flat. And then I actually can go ahead and put him on a hard flat, so he actually comes out in the flat, and then I can put him in a vertical hook, which essentially he's going to sit right there in a hook zone, and then I can man my guy up. And once again, if you man the guy up, he only has the option of Anderson or Onoya, so basically the 2 guys off the left hand side, they can't go anywhere else. So I can put him on a bluff blitz, so basically he's going to come crashing in and then actually shoot out to his assignment. There's good and bad to that. The good is that it does engage offensive linemen and messes up the blocking a little bit. A lot of elite Madden players will actually have a blitz coming off the opposite side, but they use a bluff blitz to actually engage a lineman. But sometimes he'll actually be out of position for a fast pass, so that's why bluff blitz are kind of a risky thing to do. And also you can put your guy in a QB spy. So what happens is he'll slide across the middle of the field and actually shadow the QB. That's actually a good thing to do if you got a guy that runs a lot. And then you have the blitz. So that's just another thing that you can do. So this is just another way you can go ahead and change up your coverages a little bit. Now, middle linebacker position is a little bit different because he actually provides a little bit more flexibility with the individual coverages. Now, if you take a look where it says individual coverages, you see pretty much all the icons are actually showing for all 5 wide receivers. So you can actually go ahead and take that middle linebacker and actually man him up. So to be a little bit better at Madden and actually go ahead and build a team or use a team to give you a little more versatility is if you have a middle linebacker that has very good man coverage or better than normal man coverage, you can go ahead and man them up on any one of these guys, and it actually gives you a little bit more depth, and it will take away some of those reads over the middle or some drag routes. Other things too, once again, you've got mid read that you can do. You can also take middle linebackers and put them in a deep blue, or you can put them in a mid read, which is going to be a route over the middle. You can put them on a curl flat, or a hook curl, or a curl flat, and they actually fall into an area. So it really depends on where he is in a line of scrimmage. Sometimes you can take that linebacker and you can go ahead and put his route off the left. So if he's off to the left of the quarterback, he'll go to the curl flat off to the left. If he's off to the right of the quarterback, he'll go off to the right. Now, another adjustment too is a hard flat with this guy. That gives you a Mabel coverage. It's very hard to throw against that. And then you obviously got blitz, and you've got QB spy, so there's actually going to go ahead and provide those two types of features. So this guy essentially is going to have the same kind of reads or the same kind of adjustments as the previous guy, but now with man coverage, he only can basically take on the 3 wide receivers off the left hand side. So I can only go ahead and man coverage these guys up over here. So I can only man coverage those guys up right there. So off the left hand side, once again, it's the same thing. Now, another thing too that a lot of players do is they'll actually go ahead and put their defensive linemen into different types of hot routes. So we can actually put him in a seam flat. He'll actually take away seam route, and then to defend the flat, we can put him in a hard into a hard flat, which is very common because it gets the guy out. You can put him in a curl flat, just plays a little bit differently, and you got a vertical hook, which will take away a lot of reads. And you can do man coverage, but this guy actually doesn't seem like he can man up against anybody. So you can see that option's not available for this tackle. I think it's because generally they're going to go on tight ends. So man coverage for these guys are just not showing up. QB spy, very common with a lot of people to make adjustments. You got a bluff blitz, so in other words, he will drop into a 3-hook zone. So it's a good way to go ahead and get a manufactured 3-hook zone from your defensive end, is just to go ahead and do a bluff blitz. blitz, and he'll fall into that because it doesn't look like you can actually go ahead and do that. And then obviously blitz is something that's not really common that a lot of players do, but they can do that. So this is a good way to go ahead and make these type of adjustments with your coverages, and make it difficult for your opponent to basically know what you're going to be doing as far as how you're going to be running your coverages and stuff like that, and actually going to go ahead and put yourself into a hybrid coverage. So the key to the success of a lot of pro gamers essentially is they're using these type of hybrid coverages. What they'll do is they'll come out at a cover 2 man, which basically shows that type of coverage. They'll show like a man coverage, and then what they'll do is they'll go ahead and basically go in and make some type of a different coverage that they're not used to seeing, that a person's not used to seeing, and it's going to mess up the reads a little bit. So let's see here. Let's go with this guy. We're going to put him in a cloud flat, and they're going to have this crazy hybrid coverage that's going to take away some of the middle routes. You've got a deep quarter. You've also got a deep halves, and it's just going to mess up your opponent's reads a little bit. He's just not going to be used to doing that, so it's going to be very difficult for him to defend against this type of stuff. They're just not going to used to seeing this. Now, another thing I want to show you is the quick adjustments. When it comes to quick adjustments, basically this is probably the most important thing to know, and this is the difference between the elite players and then just good players and maybe average players, is that they know how to make the adjustments for coverage adjustments with the quick adjustments. Now, the quick adjustments are made by actually hitting the triangle for the coverage. Hitting a triangle. Now, as you see the triangle down here, which is the Y button, you can see quick adjust. You hit it again, it's going to show you the icons of all your defensive players. Now, you can go ahead and click on these guys individually like this, but what happens is a lot of times your opponent will snap the ball and get you out of position. So say for instance you like to use your middle linebacker, which is Brown, but if you have to go ahead and make these hybrid adjustments, make these adjustments with your coverage, you'll get yourself in trouble. So what EA did a couple years ago, and something I just started really starting to utilize in my defensive gameplay, is actually started utilizing quick adjustments. So to do quick adjustments, you can basically set this up by hitting the triangle or Y button twice and then selecting the defensive back that you want. Notice I'm still on Brown right here. My guy's not moving around. I can go ahead and take that outside left corner, and I can put him in a cloud flat to go ahead and mess up one of my opponent's reads. I can do the same thing by hitting the triangle Y button twice. I can do to use white, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to man coverage him up on Stewart. So now I've got these adjustments set up. Curse, for some particular reason, the guy's never thrown it to him, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take away some of his reads. I'm going to go ahead and double team Stewart by using quick adjustments. So I got a guy that just can constantly throw into Stewart. I want to go ahead and double team him. I'm not worried about Curse, then I don't have to do that, but maybe I'm a little bit scared about Curse. What I'll do is I'll do a deep half just in case he actually throws that deep half route. So we're going to go ahead and find the deep half. We got that right there. So now I got a deep half. I got to be concerned about anything underneath, but he never throws the Curse. But I need to take care of Stewart because the he's beating me all over the field. So that's how you can actually do a hybrid defense with these adjustments with the coverage. So let's go ahead and reset that. Now, same thing with the linebacker position. You can do the same thing. You hit the actual left button twice, and then you see where it says, actually this is defensive line. You hit the right bumper twice. It says linebacker shift, linebacker assignments, and you see where it says quick adjustment with the R1 button. You hit that, and now you've got your 3 linebackers that you can make a quick adjustment with. So what we're going to do is we're going to take Anderson, we're going to put him on a blitz, and then we're going to go ahead and actually put our outside guy Alexander, we're going to put him at a QB spy. So now I've quickly got this type of a blitz set up where I've got basically a guy that's going to fall into the spy. I'm going to use her in the middle of the field, and I got edge pressure coming off to the right hand side of the field. So those are another way that you can actually do quick adjustments to go ahead and just mess up your opponent's read. Okay, I want to go ahead and cover Stewart, but I got to have the pressure off the left hand side. So you've got that man coverage that you're going to be able to take him away. Conversely, you can do this with you can hit the left bumper L1 button and do this with your defensive line with the quick adjustments. So what you do is you hit the left button twice, and you see the icons pop up. I can go ahead and take Hughes and I can go ahead and put him in a QB spy to go ahead and take away any guy that likes to roll out to the left. More likely going to be off to the right because I've got the pressure coming off to the right. So let's just go ahead and use Lawson. We're going to put him in a QB spy. But I also want to go ahead and drop my tackle into some kind of a vertical hook. So we're going to go ahead and put him on a vertical hook to the left, and he actually going to drop off the left. I can actually go ahead and put him off to the right. So now he makes an adjustment off to the right. So these are little subtle things that you need to understand. My recommendation more than anything else is just to go into in practice mode and practice these adjustments. And the most important thing too is to practice the quick adjustments, because you can click on these individual guys and hit the X button on a PlayStation 4 and actually make those kind of adjustments, but it's not proficient in game. You need to practice your linebackers, your linemen, your defensive backs to go ahead and get these icons up so you can make these adjustments. So this is the difference between the good Madden players and the pros. The pros know how to make the quick adjustments. So when you watch the pros playing in the tournaments and you see their hands, like, you know, doing a bunch of all these different types of steps, they're setting up all these coverages. Another key thing about these type of coverages, as you can see right now, I've got 4 defensive backs. I've got three linebackers. I've got 4 defensive linemen. If you're in a situation where you're actually running this with a different type of defense, different types of defensive set, your quick adjustments will be a little bit different. So let's go ahead and jump into Dollar, and we're just going to go ahead and pick let's pick Crossfire 3. And we're going to run this against just standard shotgun passing plays. Alright, so if you could take a look right here, basically I've got 2 linebackers now that I can make adjustments with. And I got these guys out in flats. I've got basically 3 defensive linemen. So I'm going to go ahead and put one of these guys into a hook zone right here. Put the other guy into a hook zone or into a spy. Now, what's the key is that if I go ahead and do the adjustment for defensive backs, now I've got 6 options for defensive backs, and that's where things can become very confusing to a novice player. So one of the things that you do notice when you're watching the pros all use pretty much one formation or defense the entire time, and they usually run maybe 2 or 3 different types of defenses out of that formation, just to go ahead and catch their opponent off guard. So if you are going to be using the hot adjustments, my recommendation is to definitely go ahead and practice these hot adjustments to make sure that you can get those blitzes off the edge. So you can get those type of pressures that you need to be successful with this game. So once again, to my subscribers, guys, I hope this helps you at all with your game. It's definitely going to go ahead. Using the quick adjustments is the difference between a good player and an average player. It's going to make a huge difference in your gameplay. And thanks once again for support, and until next time.